County District Attorney Jackie Lacey is offering immunity to potential victims of Democratic megadonor Ed Buck.
Tonight, Lacey sat down with our own Bill Malugin to discuss that case that's making national headlines.
If we go out there and arrest him now, the clock starts ticking, and it wouldn't be ethical right now to arrest him until we really had the evidence.
LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey is sitting down with Fox 11 to talk the Ed Buck investigation as detectives probe the suspicious deaths of two black men inside of the Democratic donor's West Hollywood apartment a year and a half apart.
Obviously, the odds of two people dying has to be more than a coincidence, but once again, we really need that evidence.
In July 2017, Jamel Moore died in Buck's apartment after the coroner determined he accidentally overdosed on meth. Moore had written in his journal that Ed Buck had injected him with crystal meth, that it was painful, and he became addicted to the pain. Prosecutors later declined to charge Buck in the case. Then, in January of this year, Timothy Dean also died in Buck's apartment. His cause of death has not yet been released.
In terms of when you saw that, when that second death was reported to you, what did you think?
Well, we immediately reopened the first case, right? Because with the second body coming out of there and the similarities between the two deaths and the two men's relationship to Mr. Buck, we decided to take a look at the first case as well as the second case.
But Lacey says right now, detectives just don't have the evidence to prove Buck was responsible for either death.
That's the piece that we're missing, is proving who injected who, because obviously if the victims injected themselves with drugs, then Buck would not be guilty of anything.
That's why Lacey says detectives need any witnesses to come forward, and they don't have to fear prosecution.
We don't care about, drug use or anything like that. We're willing to grant them immunity, but we really need to hear from witnesses.
Black lives, we matter here.
What's your response to the critics out there who say that Mr. Buck is being treated with kitty gloves because of his connections?
It simply is the circumstances. If the first victim and the second victim had died from gunshot wounds, of course, that's not something that's natural, so we would have, or the sheriff's department would have immediately arrested him. But in this case, because it was an overdose by men who had a history of drug abuse, we have to look more closely.
We're with Fox 11. Just like to talk to you for one quick moment, give you a chance.
Yes, you do. I don't want to talk to you.
Just last month, Buck avoided Fox 11's cameras when we questioned him at his apartment.
Get a job. Get a wife.
And just last week,
Arrest Ed Buck!
activists delivered 30,000 signatures to Lacey's office to call for Buck's prosecution. Lacey tells me she hears their frustration, but it all comes down to this.
We can't file a criminal case based on who has the loudest voice. I may feel that a person is guilty, but my job as a prosecutor is always to look for the evidence.
And Jackie Lacey went on to tell me that Ed Buck has no relationship to her office whatsoever. She says she has never personally met him. However, he did contribute $100 to her campaign years ago, but she tells me that money was returned after Jamel Moore's death. Reporting in downtown LA, Bill Malugin, Fox 11 News.